Success will never be a big step in the future. Success is a small step taken just now. A very good evening to all of you. Here we are today on the third executive day of the most important session series of the IEEE Institute Pro Career Fair, which is organized and proudly presented by IEEE Young Professionals Sri Lanka. As you all know, the Institute Pro Career Fair is just a few days away. It will be held on the 3rd of November from 9 a.m. onwards at Maharagama Youth Center. So if you haven't registered yet, hurry up and register now. You can find the link in the chat box. Make sure you don't miss this great opportunity. So today we are at another important milestone, the Ask Me Anything session with Azend Technologies. Let me welcome all the company partners, invitees, and participants to this amazing session. It's a great pleasure to have you all with us here today. So without any further delay, let me hand over the session to Azend Technologies, the Platinum Partners for Institute Pro 5.0 to conduct this session. Over to you.
Okay, so thanks a lot, Navodya, for that introduction. So we have, let me introduce our panel who are here today to give an introduction about Azend Technologies. So we have Chamindu Munasinghe, he's our Chief Technology Officer. We also have Oshan Samaranayaka, he's our Chief Delivery Officer. And we have Ruwan, he's our Vice President and also the Head of Business Analysis. And we also have Arit Pereira, he's the HR Manager. So with that, to conduct the session for today, I would like to invite Chamindu, the Chief Technology Officer. Chamindu, I hope you can see the slides.
Yes, I can see the slides. Thank you very much, Lalindu. And I warmly welcome everybody who's participating today, who's interested in getting to know about the company, right? So basically first we won't take a lot of time here today discussing about the company, but this is like going to be an interactive session for you guys to clarify any questions that you have regarding our company or the current state of the industry in Sri Lanka. You can ask anything. I mean, we of course, if it is something that we can help you with, we will myself and everybody from Azend Tech will be more than happy to clear your doubts. Lalindu, can we advance the slide? Right. So basically, we are a young company, right? But we have grown exponentially during the last 2 years, right? And right now, we have a global presence. And these are the countries that we have our offices in, right? And the countries that we operate our basically our target market, right? So we cater for clients in the US. I mean, our biggest customer base is from US, right? And we have some clients in UK and Europe. And of course, we have not forgotten our home soil. So we are like trying to develop some products here as well. And we our products into the global market by first, using Sri Lanka as our, proving grounds. Okay, so to give you a very high level overview of which domains we operate in, right? So we are a hybrid company. So we approach is that we are building our own product portfolio. So while we provide consultancy to kind of generate revenue to run our day-to-day operations, a main focus of Azend Tech is also to build a portfolio, like a good portfolio of intellectual property that we can call our own. And we operate in these domains: education technology, e-commerce, agro-technology, fintech, and biotech. So we will, in the following slides, we will discuss about, discuss a profile of these projects from these domains that we are operating in, right? So let me start by talking a bit about our own product that we are developing, and we are pretty proud of this. What we call Gobi.ai, right? So this is what we call this the Internet of Agricultural Things, right? So there are a lot of IoT platforms out there. Of course, we are. So our specialty is our platform is targeted towards agriculture, and it is targeted towards emerging markets like Sri Lanka and basically Southeast Asia, maybe Africa. So what we are trying to do here is, the benefit or the advantage of doing R&D in Sri Lanka is that our R&D costs are relatively less compared to, say, if you do the same R&D in a Western country. So we are taking, and also even though there are solutions out there that cater smart farming like sensor-based solutions, the problem with that is they are very expensive. So what we are doing is, here we are trying to leverage local talent and develop this product and to be able to give it to our regional consumers, regional farmers, right, at an affordable cost. So basically, and we are also targeting this platform from the seed to the consumer, right? So seed to the market. So we are right now, actually we are still in the in progress of doing this solution, but we have successfully deployed this in one big agricultural company in Sri Lanka to automate their greenhouses, right? So, but not only that, from collecting data from greenhouses and from harvesting to processing to logistics and all the aspects of agricultural economy, we are trying to track and provide traceability and analytics through this platform. We are developing software as well as hardware in this. So we have a team of electronics and embedded engineers who are working on developing sensors, as well as a team of software engineers who are working on developing AI, machine learning, and dashboarding solutions to display the, provide the end data to the end users of this system. Right. Lalindu, can you please go ahead? Okay, these are some of the screenshots and some products that we are designing as part of the POC. So we are 3D printing and building these sensors and things like that. So this is kind of like the prototype phase. We expect to mass produce this in the near future. So from designing the sensors to kind of designing the circuitry around it, our own engineers are doing it. Can we move? Yeah. So this is kind of like the sample dash in a farm in Norelia. They are growing mushrooms inside these tunnels. Can we move forward? Okay. Right. So that's about Gobi.ai, which is again like one of our own products that we are developing. Right. So then again, I'll take a bit of time to talk about a client that we have recently, onboarded, and we are pretty proud of this working for these guys, because the company is called Fauna Bio. So what they do is they are a genomics company. So they are based out of San Francisco. Like San Francisco is considered the birthplace of biotechnology. So basically what they are doing is they analyze animal genome model to find new and innovative gene-based drugs for human diseases. Let's say, for example, now if you take the bear, for example, it is said that a bear gets a lot of heart attacks, but then they don't take medication, but they are able to repair their hearts by themselves, right? So the biological systems are in place to cure a heart attack in a bear. So what they do is, they try to identify what genetic profile, what subset of the entire genome of a bear is different from a human, which, you and I can get a heart attack. So basically they have a lot of scientists, research scientists in bioinformatics and molecular biology working for them. And they are working on these machine learning and analytics algorithms to find out these genetic patterns. So what we are doing for them is we are helping them to take these applications, right? So they come up with ML algorithms, we take them and we optimize them, and we help them deploy this in AWS. We recently, did a project for them to take one of their algorithms that takes like 6 to 8 hours to run, and we optimize it down to like 2.5 hours, and then we deployed it in AWS using AWS batch computing. And then we help them auto scale their front end web application, which was developed in R Shiny to handle multiple users, right? And these days we are working on another project. We just started it to visualize these gene networks in 3D. So we are using this WebGL based library, JavaScript library, and customizing that to visualize large gene networks in a web application. Can we move on? Okay. So Lalindu, don't we have the careers 360 slide?
Yeah, 1 minute. Okay, I think that, yes, I'll play it.
Okay, so we can look at it here. So this is another thing that we are pretty kind of like proud of. So this is again our own product. I'm sure you guys might have come across this because we recently launched this and we did a bit of a marketing campaign around this. So this is Careers 360. So basically the idea is, in Sri Lanka, you have a lot of, not a lot, but a reasonable number of job boards, right, out there. So our unique selling proposition is that we are not just a job board. So basically we let you create your profile, and then we provide career guidance, as well as for the candidates we do that, and for the recruiters also we provide a lot of analytics. So basically what sort of job ads are effective, what sort of candidates are available. We provide features to headhunt, and end of the day, like you can measure like how effective your recruiting campaigns are. And here also we are looking, like we have implemented AI and ML algorithms that go through your CVs and try to extract the semantic data from the CV, and to extract the semantic data from the job posting, and to match them automatically. So this is again like a product that we are investing a lot of time and effort and also money into, and we hope to make it the #1 recruitment platform in Sri Lanka. That's the short-term goal. Long-term is, of course, to take this out to the global markets. So yeah, I think that's a short introduction to Azend Technologies. I hope I didn't take a lot of time. So I mean, if there are any questions, feel free to just raise your hand and ask them. And also, I think we have a set of questions that was handed over to us that came from your community. So I would like to invite the Azend Tech team to maybe take on some of these questions and hopefully provide insightful answers to the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Chamindu. I hope everyone can hear me. Lalindu, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Ruan.
Yes, yes,
Awesome.
Ruan.
Thanks. Right. So what we did, I think, was we listed out like some of the sort of popular questions that had been asked, and thought of, flashing them through the cards and trying to give some, hopefully some meaningful answers. So I'll make a start and go through a few of these and try to give an answer, and then probably I'll revert back to Chamindu and also Oshan and Arit and the rest, so as time permits. Is the GPA an important point to be considered in an interview? And related one was, why do most companies think about the GPA rather than project experience? Right. So what I feel is, so GPA is not a factor to be considered in an interview per se, right? So, I mean, it might be one of the many other factors that we consider when shortlisting a candidate for an interview, right? So, and also there are, it's not so much that a high GPA from someone who has studied, let us say, software engineering, makes them like a good software engineer, but more like someone who has like high marks overall is kind of more likely to be like a conscientious human being, right? Who like kind of feels responsible for their success and the work they do, right? As compared to someone with low marks, right? So in that sense, so it might be one factor for shortlisting like CVs, right? And there are a host of other factors as well, right? Like, have you done role relevant subjects, or like the quality of the internship experiences, like the projects you have kind of associated yourself with, right? Or maybe like, how one presents oneself, like, in the resume, in writing, right? The attention to detail put into that, etc. So these are all kind of factors that matter for shortlisting a resume. But the interview itself, I guess we kind of mainly evaluate for three things, right? So one would be, I guess, mastery of concepts, right? And this is true across most roles, particularly in software engineering, right? So mastery of the concepts, and I guess the ability to like solve some small problems on the fly, right? Like some design problems or things like that. And then, of course, a good attitude to working like together as a team. So those are the kinds of things we look at in an interview. Yeah. So yeah, Lalindu, maybe we can move on. Or, but by the way, feel free to interrupt me and kind of ask questions, like further questions or follow up. Right. What is the best role that is suitable for a fresher, right? Okay, so that's again like a tricky one, right? So again, here is sort of the way I think this through, and maybe there'll be other opinions even across this panel. So I think any role would do in a technical sense. I mean, there's no particular reason to say that, say, an associate software engineering role is kind of better than an associate BA role, right? Yeah, from the perspective of starting right at the bottom from the beginning. I guess for newcomers, the best role is one that quickly kind of exposes you to the full potential of the role, right? Like maybe working in a project where you are able to observe, right, and contribute from requirements conceptualization and design, right, through to the different stages of development and into deployment and then continuous improvement of a software product, right? So that's probably very valuable, to get that full breadth or life cycle of experience in your first role. And obviously, it's not going to be good if you're like tweaking some small knob somewhere for months, right? So that's probably not something you want to start with. Also, I mean, maybe it's just possible that being a software engineer or a QA engineer first, like for a few years, maybe that might be beneficial in becoming a project manager. Like, for example, that was the story in my case. But then again, I feel that, there are exceptions to this. I've seen lots of exceptions of like fresh graduates or like even non-graduates who have just started work, who quickly pick up these skills and attitudes. So yeah, so I don't think it's a rule to follow. And right, what do you expect more? Proof of projects done or knowledge of concepts, right? Okay, so again, I think something like this, right? So the old comparison, like the code monkey versus the software engineer, I think this might be applicable here, right? So I think both kinds of information regarding a candidate, right, would be useful for a recruiter, right? But I guess ultimately the knowledge of like concepts has kind of greater importance because a person who has done projects, right, and then stop to reflect on what they have done, right, and then grasp what the underlying concepts are, done a bit of research, right, like say for example concepts in object-oriented software design, right, those are like succeeded in like those types of research, right, are probably like fast at adapting to like providing solutions, right? So I that's what I feel. So concepts kind of matter, evaluation of concepts, and to demonstrate that you're good in your concepts kind of proves mastery of your domain, right? So that's what I feel. Right, what are the skills we have to develop to get a job? So I'm kind of assuming that this is more like not exactly your core technical skill, right? So we need a combination of skills and knowledge to secure like a job, right? Especially if it's the first time that we are going to get employed. So obviously it kind of helps to know like what the job sort of entails, right? I mean, maybe we have a friend who's like a bit senior to us, who has done played that role, and we can get some information from that person regarding what actually goes on in that role, right? But when it comes to skills sort of per se, I'd say like a strong combination of, let's say, communication skills and like maybe problem solving skills, right? Those are like definitely kind of a plus, right, in our industry. Also maybe like things like, I don't know, staying calm, like being able to listen carefully to others, seeing oneself, like seeing one's own self like carefully, and like not getting lost in like interviews where you go on and on about yourself, right? These types of skills are also very useful, I think, initially when sort of going for an interview. And of course, we have like, the technical skills which change from role to role, which obviously we need to have absorbed to some extent. So yeah, I guess. What are the exact certifications you would seek in an intern when applying for a business analyst position? Okay. Okay, this one again. So I have to confess, like, I of course have not been certified in any way, but I am a BA. So I mean, there are like BA related certifications one can do out there. I mean, there is like, these IIBA certifications and various other like, online like programs and certifications that one can do. I mean, even like if you think of more formal bodies, I think even PMI has a BA certification, right? So maybe like, entry level kind of steps in those programs kind of might be helpful, like to gain some insight into the role and the activities and so on, right? That we do as a BA. And if you are a student, but again, since the question is like, what do we seek in an intern? I feel that no, I mean, these programs are better taken up while we are working, and we don't like explicitly kind of seek such certifications, right? Yeah, so that's what I feel. And also maybe like, the real thing that we seek for from BA interns is like a very kind of keen desire to like build apps that solve real world problems, right? Working together with other people. So that's really what we look for. Yeah, I think this is better answered by Oshan. So
thanks, Rohan. I think, Rohan, you touched this point earlier as well. So you can start your journey in project management straight away or after getting into the other divisions and other roles. That's QA, software development, business analysis, or DevOps or support. Gain experience and then move into PM. So there are pros and cons. If you straight away join project management, you will not be able to understand the team dynamics as if you went through the other roles. So there will be a lot of you will have to spend a lot of effort and time playing a junior role, doing sort of monotonous work, gaining those soft skills, and toil your way through to earn respect of the team before managing the team. So if you're up for that challenge, of course you can start, but it's not for everybody. And the best way is to join these other roles, gain experience, and then decide for yourself if you're a developer, whether you want to go down the project management route or you want to go down the CTO architect that route. If you're a BA consultant route or a project management route. So similarly, QA test manager role or the other way. So yeah, so that's the shortest quick answer to this question. Hope I gave you more bit of info, and if you want more insight, you can always meet us on the 3rd and get more details. I think this is for Chamidu.
Yeah. So, okay. So now I think we have grouped 2 questions together. What are the basic requirements to join a company for software engineers? What are the basic qualifications to enter the IT companies, right? So I think these are similar questions. So, well, the basic requirement is for you to be able to write good code, right, for a software engineer. So what are the basic qualifications, right? So, yes, so basically, now, I think the short answer to this is your undergraduate degree, right? But that will only let you through the doors, so to speak, right? To really to secure a job, and then again to be successful in as a software engineer, you have to have that passion. So I think something that I noticed recently, because I've been like doing the hiring in this industry for like close to 15, 16 years now. One thing I have noticed is there's a trend for students to kind of like learn your course modules, do the exam, get a pretty good mark, and then forget it, So but so then you get the minimum, the credits to graduate, but then you don't really focus on what you learn. So this is in our industry that you should be like, professionals, like if you take somebody like, if you ask a doctor or a lawyer, they'll tell you that they're practicing their trade, right? So you should learn to practice this craft of software development from your early academic days. And then like, if you have that skills, the qualifications is kind of like an afterthought, right? So because I'll tell you, I have an intern who's working for me, who's just after A levels, he has self-studied, software engineering. I'm talking about software engineering, right? About algorithms and data structures, not just to kind of like, build a quick app using Node.js and, things like that. So that guy is working now. He's an intern. He just joined us about 2-3 months back, and he's very good. So, I mean, because, I mean, we just hired him on the spot because he was so good. So, I mean, yes. So, I mean, you have to get the qualifications will tell us that you have put your effort into learning, right? But what matters is that knowledge and the skill and the passion. So that's why, I mean, even if you go to interviews now in the coming days, you will realize that no company will even look at your degree certificate, provided that you have that level of skill that you require. So use your time in the university to not to just to pass the exam, but there's a lot of resources that is available at your fingertips, right? You have libraries, you have high-speed internet at the university, various clubs and circles that you can, special interest groups you can join, right? Use those to gain your knowledge. And that's all that matters, knowledge and skill, right? That's all that matters. Can we move on? Okay, so this is again, I think a pretty important question. I think for us as well as for you guys, this is, we want to get the best of you lot into Azend, right? So basically, what type of work can you expect? So you can expect the type of work that any regular engineer in our team will do day to day. So basically, we don't shield you from the client. So basically, you can participate in the client calls. You can, voice your opinion about the way that we do things, the way we design software. You participate in the daily Scrum. So basically, you get exposure to the entire life cycle. So we practice Scrum, right? So basically, from like estimation, so you will do your own estimations, right? Nobody is going to do it for you. Initially, it's okay to kind of like be not so good. So the whole idea is, as a fresher, if we see continuous improvement, right? Initially, you can be off on your estimates. There can be some bugs in the code you do. That's fine, as long as you strive to improve yourself, and we see that there's a continuous improvement, right? So, yeah. So basically, okay, right. Yeah. So how to become a good software engineer, right? So now this is a very good question, right? So what differentiates an engineer from, say, for example, a technician, right? So engineering is a principle, scientists, they come up with, scientific discoveries, they come up with theories and, various formulas describing how our world works, right? So engineers take those and then they make useful appliances out of them, right? So that's how things work, right? So software engineering is the same, right? So I think what you have to do is you have to keep on practicing this. There's a saying that you have to become a master in something, that you have to put 10,000 hours into it, right? So I hope I'm correct in the number, but regardless, you have to put a lot of effort. That effort has to be conscious effort, right? I come across a lot of developers. Unfortunately, they have been in the industry for like 10, 15 years, but they have not consciously practiced the craft of software development, right? So what does that mean? I mean, so these days, basically I was kind of lucky when I started development. Basically, it was easy to understand what goes on, right? I started development in the days of DOS 6, right? On C, when you write a program and compile it, it runs, when it runs on a 286 or 386 processor, you can easily understand, you can even disassemble that and see what exactly goes on, right? But now these days, the industry has moved on. We are working on a lot of layers of heavy abstraction, right? So, for example, if you take something like Node.js and try to understand what goes on from writing a particular line of, say, Express.js code to what goes on the processor, it's humanly impossible. So, but we can do a lot of powerful things with it. But I think one of the key factors to keep in mind is that it's okay to work with abstractions, but you should be able to go down at least 2-3 levels down and understand how things work. It is especially helpful when things don't go the way that you intend it to go, right? Intend to plan, right? If something is wrong, how do you troubleshoot, right? So that is, I think, the way to be a good software engineer. That is at least what I think it is. Okay, so would you prefer a candidate with more experience and less qualifications, or a less experienced and more qualified candidate when recruiting? Okay, so this is, I think this is a bit of a trick question, right? So again, whether it is qualifications or experience that you have, I think what I would consider is whether that has added value and you have learned from it. Like, again, like I mentioned before, even if you have 20 years of experience, if that experience during that period you have not consciously practiced the craft of software development, that experience does not count. The same goes for qualifications, right? Even if you have a PhD, right, or a master's degree in something, if you have just done it, I mean, in a PhD, I guess that would be different because you are continuously doing research and you are kind of like discovering new knowledge, right? But if you take something like your bachelor's or master's, even if you have that, if you have just done it to pass the exam, it's it's the value is significantly less. So basically, when I hire, I always look at the skills, right? Even if I interview a software architect, I always ask the basic questions, right? Start from there, right? I ask them about algorithms and data structures, and then some people kind of say, why do you ask those? But I think it's a craft, right? So we have to continuously keep on practicing. So I think it doesn't matter really. Even a candidate who has zero experience or zero qualifications, experience is like, so experience is a wrong word, I guess, in there. If you have the right knowledge and the skills and you can prove it, certainly I would hire. Okay, so who should take this one? Is it Ruan, Oshan? So do you guys want me to take it? Lalidu? Okay, yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, what growth opportunities do I have at your company? What does the 5-year trajectory look like for me after starting off at your company? Okay, so again, like let me take an example. There's another engineer in my team right now, right? We hired him as an intern. right? So basically, over a course of like 4 or 5 months, that we realized that he is very good, right? So basically, what we did was, now during 3 months, he was made a permanent employee, right? So basically now, I think we can probably promote him by the end of his internship period. Now he's already a full-time permanent software engineer, and he's on track to be promoted by he finishes his degree, right? So basically, what matters is your passion, your skills, and getting things done, right? So
Samido, it's actually a double promotion by the time the degree is over.
yeah. So yes. So yeah. I mean, I hope he's not here, so we shouldn't praise them too much as well, you know. So yeah. I mean, really. So it's what. So you get back what you put in, right? So it's not just for the company, for your career as well, right? So I mean, if you learn things, if you study hard, like you should not stop learning. After you get out of the university, again, like that's where the learning really starts, right? So in 5 years, yes, you can do whatever, right? So you can be whoever you want, as long as, I mean, because now we are businesses, right? So basically, as long as value is created, we can reward them. Right. Okay. So yeah, I think I'll take this one. What are the job opportunities that we have regarding mechatronics engineering in current time? So yeah, so if you take mechatronics engineering, that's a very interesting subject. So like it's a mix of, so that is actually very interesting and a very field that is high in demand, right? So basically, now if we take our company, we have in our IoT platform, we have engineers working, who's doing like mechatronics. Right now, these days it's electronics, but we hope to, innovate with, drones and things like that are used for smart agriculture. So so that is, there's a lot of jobs out there, right? So I think, robotics is a very interesting field, and drones, you can use, like, there's a lot of companies who are out there doing very innovative things with drones, right? So I think mechatronics is a very interesting field to be in these days. So yeah, I hope I answered that question. Right. Is there any part-time job opportunity in software engineering, machine learning, and AI field? So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I can speak for other companies, right? I'll speak for Azend, right? So, while we do have part-time opportunities, those opportunities are basically reserved for people, pretty senior people, right? Yeah, so we employ some consultants, right, who can advise us on, for example, we have some people who are very senior in embedded electronics, who have done PhDs in embedded electronics, who work as advisors, right? And some people who are good in machine learning. But for fresh graduates, what I personally suggest is, and we don't have like part-time opportunities for freshers. For freshers, I think a full-time engagement will be more fruitful in terms of gaining that, face time with the rest of the team. And, because engineering end of the day, is all about working with people, right? Understanding their requirements, working in a team. So those things, I think that exposure is hard to get if you are working part-time. So right now we don't have part-time vacancies for freshers. Okay, so I think we've covered somewhat on this field, right? If someone from non-IT industry but she or he wants to switch his or career into the IT field, what are the basic requirements that industry expects from her or him? Okay, so this is a good question. Now, what I think is basically the skills and the passion to do it, right? I mean, you can always, there are resources out there for you to learn software development, right, and software engineering. But having said that, I would like to kind of like give a warning as well, right? You have to be prepared to invest a lot of time and effort into this, right? I mean, if you are mid-career or if you want to switch to this industry, one thing you have to be careful is that this is a very young industry and a rapidly changing industry, right? There's a saying that keeping up to date in this IT industry is like trying to drink water from a fire hose, right? So, but if you're up for it, certainly you can change. But what we expect is again that, right, to build the skills, right? If you want to switch, don't apply for a job and then start learning. What you should do is you should get a head start, follow maybe there are online courses, right? And then even if you want to do like a conversion masters, there are certain masters programs that are open for software engineering, IT masters that are open for graduates from other industries, other domains, right? So other fields. So maybe you can do one of those, but prepare to invest a lot of time and effort into this. I think then you can be successful.
So I think we have only 7 minutes more. Organizers, can we go, like there are a few more questions to answer and then we have to open the floor for any other questions. Can we go by about 10 minutes more? As in, like, can
no
we?
issue, Sean, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, are Google certifications valid? So I think maybe I can take that one too. So again, like certifications, what do certifications prove, right? So industrial, like vendor certifications like Google or AWS, I mean, they are useful. They certainly add value to your CV, but only if you are actively practicing them, right? Let's say, for example, now, so I also held one of these Google certifications. I was a Google certified professional cloud architect, right? That expired when during a previous job, I was working on a solution that was deployed in GCP, right? Then I had that experience, and since I worked on GCP a lot, I got that certification, the Pro Architect certification. So it only, again, like this is not like vendor certifications are not like your typical, like what you do, what you learn in a degree or a diploma, right? That is specific knowledge to be able to operate in that vendor's tools, right? It certainly will add value, but like don't get, if you are not actively involved in this technology or framework or tools, right? I don't think it adds value to get certified, and because then at the end of the day, there's a trend to kind of like you have this what you call this brain dumps, questions from previous certification exams, and you just go through that and pass it, right? Don't do that, right? So the vendor certifications are certainly valid. For example, these days cloud certifications like AWS certified architects and certified developer adds a lot of value, but I think you should do it while you are actively practicing it in your job, right? If you do a Google or a AWS certification right after graduating, then the recruiters, the hiring managers know that you don't really have the real world experience in that tool stack, right? So I think you should wait to do this certification after you get yourself you start your career. Ruan, maybe you want to take this one?
Sure, let's see.
Yeah.
How to submit my ideas and projects to the companies that I like to work for. So I guess there are many avenues here. I'm not 100% clear of the context behind this question. Like, for example, now one way of looking at this question could be like, while you're working in the company, right? Let's say you have joined and you're working in the company, and like, how do you contribute, right? With your own ideas, and maybe like you have your own idea to build a product or something like that, right? And then you want to do that with the blessings of your company and with the benefit of working with your company. So I mean, in a company like ours, we are kind of geared for this, right? So the whole idea here at a company like Azend is that we want to kind of foster innovation within our company so that we have like a portfolio of homegrown products which basically can be taken to market, tested, and evolved to a level where there's like widespread use and acceptance of it, and sort of we can be proud of making those products. So in that context, I guess like a hybrid company like Azend has the right ecosystem for bubbling up your ideas, and also there's kind of a value framework in place where these ideas are yours, and the right kind of handshake can happen with regard to like you not only benefiting from the experience of taking your ideas to market, but also to benefit in terms of ultimately becoming like a partner or stakeholder in these ideas. So it's about how the company is set up, and I think in our case such a initiatives would be like basically smiled upon and encouraged. So that's one way of looking at this question.
Thank you, Rohan. I think that was very helpful. Right. So what do you expect the person who's doing the internship role to accomplish in the first 90 days? Okay, so yeah, so I'll try to answer that. Maybe Oshan and Ruan can provide a bit more insights, but I'll try to answer this first. So what do you expect from an intern, right? First of all, I think what we expect is to be part of the team, right? In the sense that, to really get to know the team, to work with the team, right? And then be up to date in the project domain, right? So basically, when we develop software, there's the technical aspect of it, and there's a business domain, right? So for example, now I mentioned that we are one classic example would be that biotech customer, right? So and that was a bit of a tough one for us initially, because now although everybody has heard about DNA and genes, apart from that, none of us in the team was familiar with it, right? So basically, but really to give a meaningful solution, you have to be familiar with the business domain, right? So this might be a bit kind of like uncomfortable to somebody who's very highly technical, but that is part of being a software developer, right? So you have to become acquainted with the business domain, and also be able to kind of adhere and learn the engineering kind of like discipline that we follow, right? The code quality guidelines, and if you are a software engineer, right? So I'm answering from that perspective, to be able to understand our coding guidelines, to be able to learn the basics of collaborating, learn your Git commands, and how to commit code without breaking the build, that sort of thing, right? And then be part of, so basically so what we expect is like from 90 days, I think 90 days is like 3 months. 3 months, you should be able to function like a regular member of the team, right? Okay, so basically, how do you evaluate the performance, right? So I think basically what happens is, for every intern we assign a mentor, right? So I think that is, again, like anyway, that is expected by the educational institutions as well, right? So like in a typical internship, what happens is, you get assigned a mentor, and then you do like you have this report, right? So this kind of the report you prepare, and then the supervisors basically come visit you time to time, right? So basically, so we work with the educational institute as well. We provide feedback to them as to the intern, right? So that is kind of like, and also like the project performance, right? So we get the feedback from the team members, right? So the moment you start on a team, basically they will kind of like evaluate you, right? So even if there's no formal process, the moment you work on a team, they will start evaluating you, right? And the way you behave in the team, how collaborative you are, and the output, right? End of the day, getting things done is what matters, right? End of the day. So what we have to deliver to the client is the business capability that our software is going to provide them with. So that is the ultimate evaluation, right? So all the other things are like milestones into that, right? I want to know about the job roles in companies. So yeah, again, like I can't like speak for other companies, but I think it's more or less the same in almost all the companies. So we have like different disciplines in our teams, right? So basically, we have software engineering, right? So this is the job role that you start with the associate engineer, and then maybe you progress as a software engineer, senior software engineer, associate tech lead, and maybe architect, right? So like that's software engineering roles are there in Azend. And then we have quality assurance, right? So basically test, we do like most of the testing we try to automate, right? So test automation and QA. And then we have BA. So we have a pretty strong team of BA. So at Azend, I think Ruan can speak to this. So at Azend, we take BA seriously. No, in some companies they might get developers to do the BA work, but in our case, we take BA very seriously, and we, even before the development team talks with the client, there's a discovery phase that goes on with the BAs, right? So, and then there's UI UX, right? Interaction design, it's like that. And yeah, and then there's project management, right? So maybe Ruan and Oshan, please feel free to add anything from your disciplines that I kind of missed. Right?
Well, I think DevOps and automation engineers are also there. Other than that, you covered everything else.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, Kavin, that's basically about it from my end. Any questions that we have received during the presentation? Hello, Kavin. Okay, wait, I'll check the chat.
Yeah, there's nothing. I don't see anything on the chat. I mean, if there's any questions, I think you can use the chat, or you can raise your hand, and then we can. I guess one of the hosts can unmute you. What's your tech stack right now? So okay, so we have one question. Can I take that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, we operate on various tech stacks, right? So basically, now in one of our projects, we are using .NET, and it is deployed in Azure. This is the education domain client that I talked about, and so we are using .NET Core to build microservices, and then the front end is Angular micro front ends. We are using the build tool called NX. So that is one project. And if you take our IoT platform that we are developing, it is basically the backend is used in Java. So in Java, we are using this framework called Quarkus. So Quarkus is an asynchronous framework which is built on Eclipse Vertex. So because this IoT, there's a lot of connections that we have to handle. That's why we are using that. And the front end is again like React-based micro front ends, multiple micro front ends that are developed using React and NX. So those are the now. And then when it comes to our Careers 360 product, which is again it's a serverless application using Node.js and Express deployed in using AWS Lambda, and the front end is a Next.js based front end. So and we use Python.
Right. Thanks, Chamindu. So there's another question. Sir, in University of Peradeniya, graduation delayed by few months than other universities of our batch. Will you give opportunity for final year undergraduate who can manage the workload, or else join after the completion of the degree?
Yeah, so basically, I think if you are up for it, I mean, certainly like when we hire interns, we let them focus on the academics as well, right? So now we can, I mean, certainly we are more than welcome if you think you can manage the two, right? Of course, we can come up with a flexible engagement model, right? So where, when you have exams and, when you have lectures, you can take time off to attend to them, or if you have assignments, you can take a day off to kind of work on them, right? But if you are interested and passionate, and if you think you can balance both, you are more than welcome to, come and have a chat with us. So I think you can come and physically meet us on the 3rd, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I hope I answered that question. And then
there
are a couple of more questions, right? I think there's a question about React, right? So I think I'll take that on, and okay. So I'll first take that question. I'm a second year student, already started as a React and React Native developer before second year. Now I'm a software engineer position. Now I have to resign job and focus on my academics. My question is, when I go intern in 4th year as a software engineer intern? That's a very good question. I mean, if you are really good, I mean, again, like, like the unit, so that internship is a part requirement to get your degree, right? But even the university doesn't restrict you from, say, working as a software engineer, right? So if you can really prove the company that, I'm above an intern level, and then I'm good as a software engineer, right? Of course, you can probably demand and maybe even get a, compensation as a software engineer, right? Nothing will, I mean, I don't think the university will have any issue with that, because they don't really dictate on what sort of a designation or what sort of a salary band that you should do your internship at, right? So I think you can definitely go as a software engineer. I mean, certainly we would consider you as a software engineer if you are good, right? If you can prove that, certainly we would consider you as a software engineer, right? And the other one, can you just explain about the character of the intern who you called wonderful? Just can you elaborate his workflow, attitude, etc. Right? Okay, so yeah, maybe I'll start on this. Maybe others can also jump in and provide a bit more insight into this. So I think one thing is that with him, he loves to learn stuff and do it, right? So basically, there's a saying, it might be a cliche, but there's a saying that make your hobby your livelihood, right? Then you don't have to work a single day, right? Although like it sounds like a bit of a cliche, I mean that has a certain truth into it, right? Now, if you love writing code and if you love what you're doing, that's what matters end of the day, right? So I think with him, he has learned programming on your own because he likes to do this, right? So I mean, so I think that's what that keeps you going, right? And also like a can-do attitude, right? Where you don't you are up for a challenge, right? Sometimes if you think that you learn a certain set of technologies and okay, I'm going to work on this, and then just that if you say if you are expert in React, and if I asked you to do this Java work, and he's like, okay, so he's saying, okay, yeah, give me some time to learn, but I'll do it. So like a can-do attitude and love for technologies, I think what keeps him going. And also be professional and being able to deliver on your commitments, right? And then if it's okay, sometimes sometimes if you think you can't deliver on time, you have to say it upfront, because we have to manage the client expectations as well, right? So be collaborative, be good in communication, and have passion for what you do.
All right, I think that's about it. Kami,
there's one more question. I think, well, it asks about salary scales, right? So I don't know, so again, salary scales are a very kind of like a sensitive and a very, it can be in a spectrum, right? So it really depends on the value that you bring to the organization, right? I mean, so I don't know whether it's a good idea to kind of talk about salaries in a wider forum, but if you can come and meet us on the 3rd, we can give you an idea about this, right? At least about the band of the salary band, right?
All right. Yes, Navodaya, you can take over the session.
Yeah, okay. So thank you for the wonderful knowledge sharing session. So everyone, we will be starting a small poll right now. So please be kind enough to take a minute and give your answer to the question that appears on your screen. Okay, so thank you all. Now we have come to the end of our session. So thank you all for joining with us today, and hoping to see you all in our future session. So stay safe and have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Thank you.